Okay, so today I'm gonna try out a new spot. Over the years ago, I was told, and oh, you can't metal detect here, you can't metal detect there, blah blah blah. Now, since then, doing a little more research, found online where metal detecting state parks in Pennsylvania, it says is allowed, reasonable metal detecting is allowed in the state parks. Not in areas that are fenced off for historical purposes or something, blah, blah, blah. Not in around areas that would affect other people using the areas, such as, day use areas. So I get that. Cool. So that means that all the other open state park areas, especially some of them around here where I'm at today, I'm at the site of what used to be a farm. Just ahead of me here, right behind me here, there's the old foundation to the barn. I do believe it looked like from the old aerial view of 1956. There's a house back here. There's some kind of foundation over there. And there was many more outbuildings back there. So, per what I've found online on the state's website for state parks, I am going to be reasonably metal detecting, not for the removal of vegetation or their precious minerals in the ground, because of course we all know rock hounding is not legal technically in a state park. Because they think they own the mineral. Well, I guess the government and the state, they do own all the mineral rights. They've always have. Even when this was a farm, the owner here did not own the mineral rights under his farm. He only owned the land on top. So, but we're here today to look for old relics in the top layers that farmer owned. And being that it's a state park for use for the people of the state, me being a taxpayer, and the fact that I'm going to be reasonably metal detecting, not really sure what that's like a very vague statement. And I'm sure they word it that way so that they can try to tell me I'm not allowed to. But I'm going to use their vague terminology as in I can. Because it says I can. I can reasonably metal detect in state parks. This is not a fenced off area. It is not historical to them, for they just tore everything down when they stole the land for pennies on the dollar for what it was worth. For a dam that they never built over yonder. Yeah, so I'm going to check around here because in an old farm, I'm going to guess there's a good chance to find some really cool old relics. Save them before they rot away to nothing. And so I will get back to you if I find anything. So keep swinging. Catch you in a little. Yeah. First target retrieved from the leaves. Not even there to dig. Shotgun Willie. Of course, I figured that much because people hunt back here. There'll be plenty of that. Second target, the top to a metal tube of something. Most of it's gone. But there's the top. So it's something. All right, just took a few minutes of video and it wasn't even on. So, found this here next to this foundation that's right here. And I think it's the only part of what might be left from where the house sat. The house was probably out front. This might have been like a back porch or something, or maybe this was their original privy back in the old days, long ago. I don't know. But here on the outside of it, found cream, and where I unfolded it, it says wedding razor often, Colgate Palmolive, made in the USA. So I'm guessing that this was a shaving cream tube. Found tons of nails, some twisted wire, some flat iron sheet metal, and then this here says open other end. Open other end, open other end. I'm not sure what this lid was to, or what this was the bottom of a container. So not sure what that was to, but this thing's kind of strange because there's a ton of brick around it, a lot of the rocks. Some of this was higher, and the rocks are down front, which might have actually been, this might have been like a back porch to the house. Well, then again, I'm sure that the farmhouse that was here, you know, the oldest back that I can see aerial view is 1956. But building with rock like this goes back way before that. So whatever was here, this could have easily been something else long ago, and then was added to and a new house built in the 1900s. It's hard to say. But I'd have to check. You know, even on my phone, it's hard to try to figure out the 1860 map because not all the roads were here, and without having a laptop so I can overlay that with another website map, so you can overlay the two and transparent it to see where the roads are now compared to then, so you can pinpoint where stuff was at. I can't do that on my phone. So without a laptop or a desktop computer and plenty of time to utilize it to research and figure it out, I'm sure there was something here from long ago in the 1800s, at least, just by the way this stone foundation's built. Even if they reused rock from something else to make this, I'm thinking this was probably a back porch at most, or at the bare minimum. But so yeah, doesn't seem like I'm gonna find. I mean, I like what I found. I was really kind of expecting to find some other stuff as well. But we'll keep on swinging. All right. Now we're talking. We got something old here. That's a square nail. That is square, hand-forged head on there. Oh, yeah. But also it was right next to... Found a whole bunch of these old foil things back here. Because, you know, back in the 50s, 60s, before this property was stolen from the owners for nothing, they would have used a whole lot of these in their garden to keep the birds off their stuff and the animals out. So I've been finding a ton of this stuff around what would have been the yard. And there's a ton of iron. I mean, like, massive amounts of iron. It's insane. Which would have been, I mean, they would have just bulldozed the house and everything. They would have bulldozed everything And probably, I wouldn't be surprised, they just pretty much buried it, just moved enough dirt out of the way to push dirt back over it and let it lay here. Let all the wood rot. You know, the state wouldn't have cared back then. It's not like they were going to properly, they weren't going to demolish the homes and actually, clean everything up. Silly us. Who would think they would do that? They're going to build a dam and flood this whole damn thing back here anyway. A lot of it. So they weren't worried about cleaning up what they were tearing down. So, but at least this is a step in the right direction. Square hand forged. I like that. That's nice. Oh, it looks like the rose head. But that's a big piece, though. That was for, I'm not sure exactly what that was for or what. But it's got a big chunk of stuff on the end of it. Let's see if we can. Oh yeah, it's a nail. Just got to get off all the build-up rust. Oh, there we go. There's the nail point. Yeah. That definitely looks like a square nail to me. Especially with that head on there, because that's a hand forged head. That's not a stamped out nail like the more modern stuff. All right, the first hand forged nail. Finally. Okay, still in the same hole, finding some more square nails, and that is definitely a rose head. That's a rose head nail. So at least I know I'm dating back farther, which is good. That is very good. Rose head nail for the win. Okay, so I'm having issues with this camera and my phone. Last couple days have been an issue trying to do any video and stuff, and I enjoyed my evening out here, evening out here, trying to see what I could find. I am sure there's probably great things to be found, relics in the ground, but this area has so much iron content. It is sickening. Now there's a slab over there, concrete, but the rest of it, that slab is poured on top of a very old rock wall foundation, just like the rock wall foundation on the barn here. There's a rock. Actually, I guess the barn would have been in front of it. Actually, that's the back wall, and then the bank. It was like a bank barn. So the rest of the barn would have been right here in this flat. That was the back wall. Off the back corner is where I found the barrel. The round metal piece that I think would have been to a barrel, to hold a barrel together. It's not tapered like most of them are, so it's kind of throwing me off. I'm not sure. But if that was the back wall of the barn, there's a piece of newer steel pounded into the ground there. The foundation on that, the foundation on the barn, the foundation over across the creek, and the little bit of foundation that's left where the house over here was, and this to this way, to the direction facing. They definitely were all built, I would say, easy 1800s, if not a little bit earlier. I know there is, well, all over Lebanon County, there is 1700s structures, stone farmhouses that are all stone, all the way to the roof. Barns that are complete stone except for the roof. So there's plenty of late 1700s into the early 1800s, and I'm sure that most of this here is in that same era. Problem is the way that this was destroyed after 1956, because that aerial view shows all the structures still here. The farm is here, it's operational, people were living here. The eminent domain, I think, took place in the maybe in the 60s for all of this land back here. And then, of course, the state just had somebody come in, and they did it themselves, and they just bulldozed everything and destroyed everything and didn't care about the fact that it's old history. See, this is like I said before, this is one of my biggest. Okay, so I gotta finish this quick. I keep going off on a tangent rant, and I don't want to do that in this video anymore. I'm going to guess that from what I've seen on 1, 2, 3, 4 foundations, or parts of a foundation that I have seen today, I am going to say that I would bet $20 that these foundations, the original stuff built here on what was this farm, is definitely 1800s. There is, of course, there's plenty. I found stuff from the 1940s, 50s, but I did find the hand forged square nail with the rose head. I would say that and the foundation, it dates us back to the 1800s. Probably dates it pre-Civil War, which I know people were living up in this area because during the Civil War, many militiamen came from Schuylkill County, up this way, Sudeburg, and up this end of the county. Many militiamen came from here to go fight in the Civil War. They went and fought at Wrightsville, Columbia, the whole burning bridge thing. So I'd bet $20 that a lot of this right here is 1800s at some point, early, mid. What I'm seeing on the 1956 historical aerial view, yes, things would have been rebuilt or redone at later times after the original, but the foundations, I would say that the foundation over here on this to my left, the foundation that's showing, I think is probably a fireplace chimney foundation. After looking at it, thinking about it, realizing where the house, looking at the map, seeing where the house sat, I think that was a fireplace chimney foundation that's left. All the brick would have been the chimney that would have been built at a later time, redone. The foundation wall, there's a foundation over here with half of it is a concrete slab on top, but it's very old concrete. We're talking old concrete, just like the concrete floors that's in the basement found on the foundation on the other side of the creek over here that I went to. That concrete it's just pebble rock and then a cement that was poured. There's no rebar. It's not very thick. So, and then there's anchor, wrought iron, looks like wrought iron or threaded. Well, the one that has threads, and a square nut. So I'm not sure exactly where that dates it to. Square nuts, threaded round stock. I'm not sure what the oldest threaded round stock is, but that one up there. And I also found old barbed wire that would have been, and there's an old the metal skeleton structure of an old mattress. Like, we're going way back, old mattress. Which I guess would be probably early 1900s. Very early 1900s. I'm gonna have to do some more research, and I've done years ago. I did plenty on back here, but it's actually hard to find. It's hard to find a lot of detailed information back here. It's like, now there's things with old maps that I didn't know about back then, but now I don't have a computer to look up those maps and do the overlays with the other map program apps or websites. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I may get a laptop. I might have to find somebody to I have to buy a desktop computer and put it at somebody's, I don't know. I don't have money for a computer. Screw that. So yeah, I don't know. All I do know is it's old back here. There's a lot of